Welcome to Tytania. This anime came out around 2008 and 9. It is written by Yoshiki Tanaka, the same author of Legend of the Galactic Heroes, and is directed by Noboru, who was also the director of the Legend of the Galactic Heroes. This is sort of a spiritual sequel or continuation of that kind of story. It's unrelated to the story Legend of the Galactic Heroes, but feels like it takes place in the same world. You have your empire, you have your democracy, you have your space opera type battles, you have your Yang Wenli like character. It's another heavily politically themed anime. A lot of it comes down to what Fan Hulick, the main character, says. That being that there are those who rule, and then there are those who don't. But there's a third option, and that's those who hate being ruled. Fan Hulick is another Yang Wenli. He's very similar to Yang Wenli, except he's more of a delinquent. In the opening of this anime, you're introduced to the 5 of the family that represent the empire. There are these 5 powerful political figures that have their own giant amount of power compared to the ruler. They have some influence. They start off by killing the chancellor right next to the Kaiser, and the Kaiser says, "Why did you do that?" And they respond with, "This man has committed a crime. We know that he's guilty. To go through a trial was just a waste of time." In the first episode, we're introduced to a fleet battle where the Empire is fighting the other civilization. I think it's the democracy. I don't remember the name at the moment. I had a script for this and I forgot to bring it, so I'm just gonna improvise it. But this character, Fan Hulick, a nobody in the army, was placed to lead this small fleet, and unknowingly was part of a conspiracy. He's supposed to lose. When the fight starts, the Empire, led by one of the 5 of the family, of course he's overconfident. He looks at the size of his fleet, sees this win to be easy, so he's comfortably sitting down drinking the finest tea. He's full of himself. He's a very overconfident type character. In fact, he's on his picture. There's a blonde guy. The fight starts, and his strategy is to surround Fan Hulick's small fleet and then just take them out. And so he surrounds them, and Fan Hulick sort of just waiting for the moment to strike. And once the surround happens, Fan Hulick reveals these cannons that fire powerful blasts but self-destruct after use. And so the family member, he realizes that he allowed himself to rush into this encirclement, and now he's about to get destroyed because he did not know that this person that he thought was a nobody had actually had a strategy. And so Fan Hulick has his fleet flee. The cannons fire and destroy 100,000 of this man's men, and he leaves, embarrassing the Empire with his loss. And Fan Hulick is thinking to himself, "I'm gonna go back home, and I'm gonna get surrounded by women and celebrated and praised as a hero." And when he gets back, he gets yelled at by the government because he was supposed to lose. They ended up taking away his job, giving him some money, and essentially telling him to just go away. That things didn't go so well for Fan Hulick. So eventually he gets to the point where he decides to leave the planet. One of the women that work in the government building advised him that he needs to leave because the Empire now has their sights on him because of his ability to defeat Tytania in a fleet battle, which is unheard of during this time. But Hulick at the same time doesn't really care about the fights. He has that Yang Wenli-esque type attitude that he doesn't want to be a soldier, but kind of gets dragged into it because he's good anyways. But at least he's different. He's not. I wouldn't say he's a Yang Wenli clone, but you'll definitely be reminded of him when you see this character. He escapes the planet, gets caught, runs away, almost gets caught again. That goes back and forth, and he ends up meeting this sort of anti-Tytania type of group, and is forced to join it. But he often ponders about their goal, which is to create a universe without Tytania. And so Fan Hulig isn't really on board with this type of plan, but he ponders about it. And I'm only 4 episodes in. From what I've heard, this anime does not finish the novel and ends in an unsatisfying way, kind of falls apart. But I want to see it for myself and see what really happens. But that's essentially the first 4 episodes. There are quite a few characters introduced, but by the 4th episode, I think you've already been introduced to nearly all of them. The music keeps that classical type. I think it's more original though, not just borrowing from hundreds of classical pieces like Legend of the Galactic Heroes did. So I do enjoy it a lot at the moment, but I gotta be critical because this anime is just no one talks about it. So hopefully it'll stay strong. If not, then I'll keep watching it, keep analyzing it, make more videos, and I'll let you guys know what this spiritual sequel to Legend of the Galactic Heroes has to offer. Thank you for listening.